Yo, what's going on, guys? And we are talking about all the news we know about, yes, the Pascal Siakam Golden State stuff, specifically from the Raptors point of view. I have another video out talking about it from the Warriors point of view. So as we get into today's video, I move my mic. It's usually not this far into the video. But Shams Charania came out and said that the Golden State Warriors have interest in Pascal Siakam. And two league sources told Matt Moore that the Raptors would have interest in a deal around Jonathan Kuminga or Moses Moody. I personally think the deal would have to be Chris Paul, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody. I don't know what draft picks would be involved, but I think that's the starting, the kick the door open, or the metaphorical door. And that's just because of the potential that Siakam has and what the team feels is value, or what they value him. So I do think it's definitely an interesting situation, because if they do get Jonathan Kuminga or Moses Moody or both of them, this would allow them to have a core of RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody. That's 6'9", 6'9", 6'7", and 6'6", okay, as four guys right there. You throw in Jakob Poeltl, tell Scotty Barnes to be the point guard, throw Moses Moody at shooting guard, have RJ Barrett be the small forward, and then Jonathan Kuminga your power forward. I'm kind of liking that lineup, guys. Believe it or not, I think that team is a really good young core with a lot of potential, with multiple players who could be all-stars at the very least. So I want to hear your guys' opinions in the comment section. What do you guys expect the Pascal Siakam situation to become? We do know that if Pascal Siakam remains on the Raptors past the trade deadline, he is more than likely going to sign a 4-year max extension, as the Raptors would not want to lose Pascal Siakam uncompensated, similarly to what happened with Fred VanVleet this past offseason. The rest of the video is going to be reporting we've done in the past. So we have an update with what's going on with the, I don't know why I'm butchering their name, but the Toronto Raptors. As the Toronto Raptors obviously traded OG Anunoby, Malachi Flynn, and Precious Achiuwa for RJ Barrett and Manuel quickly in a second-round pick. And we all know that they have decided to go forward with the Scotty Barnes future. And it makes sense, okay? It makes sense. And as somebody who's been watching this happen, we need to understand where the Raptors are currently at. The Raptors are right now looking to see what happens with Pascal. So Pascal Siakam has the option to till June 30th to sign a 4-year, $190 million extension with the Raptors. If he gets traded to a team, he can only sign a 2-year extension, but he can re-sign and then sign a max with them in the offseason, which supposedly is kind of how Pascal Siakam is holding leverage in trade talks, as he is only going to go to a team that, and the Raptors are communicating with teams, which teams are willing to re-sign him to the money that Pascal wants, because that is going to basically, if Pascal gets traded to a team that he's going to re-sign with, they're going to get more in, they're going to receive more in compensation. But if he gets traded to a team that he probably isn't going to resign to, they're going to receive less in compensation. So that's something that could dictate what they get. But Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting basically that the Pascal Siakam trade update is that the Raptors obviously are building around Scotty Barnes with players that fit the age timeline compared to Siakam. And Siakam has value around the league, but he holds leverage on the potential destination because of the expiring contract. And his interested teams want to know if he would resign with them, which will impact what the Raptors will receive in a trade. Toronto is now using this window of time till the trade deadline to see what Pascal Siakam will look around the core, which is going to be Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, and RJ Barrett, which obviously that does make sense if you're a Raptors fan. For me, when I look at this, I think, okay, we're hearing that right now, that specifically that a team besides, we know that the Detroit Pistons are a team that are interested in Pascal Siakam. We know the Memphis Grizzlies are interested. We've heard that the Mavericks are interested, but it's overstated that they're not willing to overpay. A deal for Pascal from the Mavericks would have to include Maxi Kleber, Tim Hardaway Jr., Rashawn Holmes, some combination of those contracts. A Pistons deal would probably be Joe Harris, Bojan Bogdanovic, while a Memphis Grizzlies would be probably revolving around Brandon Clark, Steven Adams, and other salary filler. Now, there is, of course, one more team we're hearing that is going to be the Indiana Pacers, as the Indiana Pacers have long held interest in trading for Pascal Siakam. Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we want to talk about Pascal Siakam, who is expected to be traded now that OG Anunoby has been traded. I'm laying here on the beach with my girlfriend, so we're going to probably do this a little quick because I can tell she might not be the biggest fan of me making these videos on the beach. But let's get right into this and talk about Pascal Siakam, who's expected to be traded. Now, the teams that are interested in Pascal Siakam are the Atlanta Hawks, the Sacramento Kings, and the Indiana Pacers. So the report originally came from Adrian Wojnarowski that the Toronto Raptors will continue to explore trades involving Pascal Siakam. Sources tell ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. No talks, however, have gained any traction with Siakam at this point. The Raptors traded OG Anunoby to the New York Knicks for RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley on Saturday. Both Siakam and Anunoby were or are eligible for free agency in 2024. The Atlanta Hawks and the Indiana Pacers and Sacramento Kings have been previously linked to Siakam. Now that the Raptors swung the trade, moving on from OG, Precious Achiuwa, Malachi Flynn, bringing in the native RJ Barrett, my old neighbor Emmanuel Quickley, and a second-round pick, people believe that Siakam is going to be traded. He was nearly traded to the Atlanta Hawks for a deal that centered around DeAndre Hunter, and I believe it was DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, and I want to say Bogdan Bogdanovic, but I don't think Bogdan's involved in the deal, and I believe because they traded for RJ Barrett, I don't know if they want DeAndre Hunter. Maybe they do. I want to hear your thoughts. If you're a Raptors fan, what is your expectations at this point for a Siakam deal? What do you think is correct compensation? Now, the Hawks are still expected to be interested, as well as the Pacers and Sacramento Kings. Again, a Hawks deal would have to be probably a 3-team deal because they would have to send a combination of DeAndre Hunter and Clint Capella and or Bogdan. At least two of those dudes would have to either go to the Raptors or to another team that would send assets to the Raptors, basically. So that's what the Hawks are giving up. They have AJ Griffin, Kobe Buffkin, a few other young guys that there could be interest in. Now, the next one is the Sacramento Kings. A deal from them would probably center around Davion Mitchell, maybe Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, and any other young guys that the Kings would be willing to move on from. I think the untouchables are Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, and Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. I think everybody else would be tradable. Pacers, I could see the deal being a bit easier to expedite. Now it's 37.9. I don't know. I feel like for the Kings, it's the easiest because they have a lot of like interchangeable salaries. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for, Pascal Siakam being moved. I wonder what the actual going rate. There's a second-round pick that just went for our man. And yeah, for me, I think if a second-round pick is what OG went for, and he was a guy who was getting offers to go for 2 second-round picks last year. 2 first-round picks. And now he just went for 1 second. How much has Siakam's value depreciated is the question I'm wondering. If you're a fan of Pascal Siakam, which I assume if you're watching this video, you probably are, either because you're a Raptors fan or because you're a fan of the Hawks, Kings. Is anybody here just straight up a Pascal Siakam fan? I don't know if anybody is. Do those exist? But let's hear the rest that I've reported on.
Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're hearing from Shams Charania that a few teams are interested in Pascal Siakam. So as we get closer to the trade deadline, the Toronto Raptors and the Chicago Bulls are allegedly the 2 teams to keep an eye on, to keep tabs on as sellers. And Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster have stuck with their talented core, Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby for the last 3 years. But they've lost 3 games in a row. They're 9-13. And teams believe more than ever that Pascal Siakam or Anunoby, or both of them, will be traded by February 8th deadline. Scotty Barnes is off limits. So under new coach Darko Rajakovic, the Raptors have hope for a more team first, free flowing offensive style that would lead to success. And there's a strong belief that Barnes, Siakam, and Anunoby across every level of the organization. And there's a confidence in the new style of play would lead to more success and victories. And the thing with that is that it has to be a selfless style of play. And teams such as the Hawks, Kings, and Pacers are expected to be suitors for either Siakam or Anunoby, but believe Siakam's all three teams rather have Siakam, but if they can't get Siakam, they're fine with OG Anunoby. Both Siakam and OG Anunoby are on expiring. Siakam's 29. He's makes 37.9 and he expects to get a max or a near max contract. Anunoby's 26 and he has a player option for 19.9 and he's expected to decline it, and there's rumors that he's going to get a 2-year max. So Siakam's expected to get near close or a full max, like 4 or 5 year deal, while Anunoby might get like a 2-year $70 million deal, they're saying. And the Hawks held intense conversations with the Raptors surrounding a Siakam deal, which I believe was DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, and Bogdan Bogdanovic, the package. But the Pacers and Kings have kind of had like exploratory conversations. While the Kings had a better start last year, they're 12-8 this year compared to 11-9 last year. So they're a good team. So I kind of phrase that weird. They had a better start this year than last year, which is weird. So Siakam's kind of OG Anunoby's a better fit for the Kings. Siakam's a perfect fit for the Hawks and Pacers. The one thing I think OG became with Jalen Johnson's assertion, I think they kind of want OG now. So a season ago, the Raptors elected to play through and try to campaign and forge, a playoff team, but they ultimately lost Fred VanVleet to nothing. And the thing is that going to happen again? So there's a big belief that they've got to make a move there, because right now they don't have anything to show for it if he just leaves. Pascal Siakam has been in discussions with the Atlanta Hawks, and the deal is that Atlanta's discussing with Pascal Siakam's agent and trying to figure out how willing would he be to sign an extension if the deal goes through. So basically the whole hiccup on the Pascal Siakam deal right now is that the Hawks and Raptors, according to Michael Grange of Sportsnet, they have discussed various permutations of a trade framework for Pascal Siakam this summer, and with things advancing enough right now that Atlanta has contacted Pascal Siakam's agent to measure how open Pascal Siakam would be to sign an extension with Atlanta if the deal goes through. The next report we're hearing specifically is that there is according to league sources, there is expected to be a fairly robust market for the Raptors veterans, though maybe not the slam dunk of a return that makes the deal a no-brainer. The Raptors under President and General Masai Ujiri aren't known for selling low. So the deal we knew that almost went through during this offseason was a deal of Pascal Siakam for DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan Bogdanovic, AJ Griffin, and I believe 1 first-round pick. They wanted Kobe Buffkin in the deal. The Hawks said no. Now, Bogdan's playing amazing this year. Okay, like amazing. He's been huge for them. Kobe Buffkin's been in the G. So, my question is, what would you give up if you were the Atlanta Hawks if we knew the deal that they were cool with was DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, and Bogdan Bogdanovic, 1 first-round pick, and Kobe Buffkin on draft night, or which would now I guess would be 2 first-round picks, AJ Griffin, Bogdan, DeAndre Hunter, but I don't want to give up Bogdan because I think he's playing too good. What would you do? So I get the idea of DeJounte Murray being involved in this deal, but let me come at you with this. Clint Capella, 3-team deal. Clint Capella and DeAndre Hunter and AJ Griffin. You send DeAndre Hunter and AJ Griffin to the Raptors. You're like, okay, Clint Capella can't be going to the Raptors because they have Jakob Poeltl. So I go, yeah, you know what team needs a center because their center's out for season? The Memphis Grizzlies. They've been saying that they want to trade Luke Kennard and John Konchar. So you package Luke Kennard, John Konchar to the Raptors. So the Raptors get DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, Luke Kennard, and John Konchar, 4 players, 1 first-round pick and 2 second-round picks. They send Pascal Siakam to the Hawks. Hawks get Pascal. They give up Mr. Clint Capella, DeAndre Hunter, and AJ Griffin, and they get back Pascal. They'll give up 1 first-round pick in 2 seconds, and then they send Clint Capella to the Hawks, and the Hawks can send Luke Kennard and John Conchard over there. And if you're going to the Grizzlies. He's going to the Grizzlies because they don't have a center because Steven Adams is. And then what? You're getting 4 players, a first-round pick in 2 seconds. Okay, with 2 of those players being starter caliber, 2 being good role players. All right, I really don't think it's that bad of a trade.